just rolling. Day in the life of truck and chubby. On this Wednesday, can I be real with y'all? Can I be real with y'all out here on this Wednesday? So as y'all know, the NCAA got like a antitrust rule, right? And see, the thing is I was saying this before, and one of my videos about the NIL, I was like, the last thing these colleges and universities want to do is let the NCAA come up with some kind of system that they're going to uphold, and once they get their claws in it, they ain't getting out. They ain't getting out. And now I think they figured out a way to become part in the NIL. And they want to be part of making sure the players get revenue. And it's going to go through them. So now guess what? Guess what y'all did, colleges and universities? Not wanting to be lazy and everything else. Look what happened. Now y'all got the NCAA involved. And a lot of people, I mean, look, some people call them the non-caring assholes of America because of the way the system has been running and the way that the transfer portal's been, rather which side you lean on, with the college football playoff being extended, everything else, and the way that things are going in college football and college sports in general. I think a lot of people are just upset at the transfer portal and the way that the transfer portal is going, period. So what I went ahead and did is I jotted down some notes, and I jotted down some notes because I wanted to remember these key points and to bring out this information, because I tweeted some things out. It really, you know what I'm saying? Some people probably seen it and say, you know, whatever. He's not saying nothing provocative or negative, so I don't care to watch what he has to say. And that's a lot of our problem, you know what I mean? Had I threw out another video of Keyshawn or Coach Prime or Shador or talking about somebody, then y'all have something to say. But nobody really cares about these things because y'all not affected by this, because y'all don't have a little cousin or a little brother or a sister or whoever affected by what's going on in the transfer portal, them being stuck there or anything. So nobody cares because it don't affect them daily in their daily life and whatever they're doing. And but however, I still want to shed light on it. However, at the end of the day, I am a sports content creator outside of being a truck driver, outside of being a father, outside of being a husband, outside of being whoever I need to be for that particular day. Like, I'm on it. Like, so don't play me. Anyway, but so I did jot down some notes, and it's a sharing revenue in college football. But, you know, some of the things that pop up in their head, like, okay, like they want to split the revenue, but what is the revenue? What a part of the revenue do they want to share? Is it the ticket sales? You know what I mean? Which ticket sales? Digital ticket sales, the gate, you know, at the gate, which ones? Or is it just in general, just ticket sales all through together, right? You know, which is it food and beverage? Because, you know, hot dog, hamburgers, pizza, nachos, ice cream, beers, water, anything, sports drinks, all of that together, you know, is that, you know, part of it too? With the players sharing that? Okay. The TV revenue, will they get a part of that? And, you know, you know, the commercials with the teams, you know, come to this university, do they get a share in that revenue? Also, is it all the revenue? What kind of revenue are they getting? You know, because at the end of the day, there's other departments at universities, right? There's other sports at in one university, right? When it's just not football, basketball, baseball, hockey, right? There's other sports, right? At schools, right? So, you know, what part of the revenue will they be getting? We don't know that right now, you know. But I'm almost saying that to break that down, it probably would be, you know, ticket sales in that said sport. And so what do I mean by that? So if a hockey player plays hockey at a university, will the hockey players get a part revenue of the ticket sales? Anything that is promoted within that school's hockey team, will that hockey team see the revenue? You know, with that base, you know, and et cetera. Okay. That I hope that broke that down pretty decent to y'all. If not, leave it in the comments and I'll, you know, type as best as I can and let you know what I meant by that. If that didn't explain that to you well enough. All right. Now also you get to thinking about contracts with a player in the transfer portal. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I know it." And that look, I put somebody on the spot with this on X, and they didn't like that at all. They didn't like that at all. They got to talking to me about opinions before at one point in time. It was hilarious. I mean, I couldn't say nothing because I already had like destroyed them, and it's just like you got to have the last word like a woman. Like you be in your mode. Like, come on, y'all got to stop with the feminine energy, guys. Like, come on, really. I mean, look, and I ain't saying nothing against the ladies, but come on, guys, I got to stop with the feminine energy. Like, you got to get the last word in. I mean, the guy itself, y'all, it was kind of hilarious because he's already like, look, like you got to come with facts and not opinions. And I showed him, like, okay, so here's an opinion that you said a long time ago, and this is what you said upon it. And I told you to watch the video before you got in the comments, but he still went ahead and said something. Like, you're always challenging my takes. You came with some non-brained up scheme opinion. And when I threw it out there, when all this transfer portal was going around, no, they just need to leave it the way it is now, he says. And he didn't like that. See, then the narrative changed. And people got to stop playing like that. Stop playing dumb. Like, don't. But see, people like that kind of stuff. They really like that. They like to argue. Toxic is good to people. But anyway, I've always talked about contracts in the transfer portal. And I stand strongly on that because that is the only way a player, a university, all parties involved will come out satisfied upon the agreement. That is the only way it's going to happen. And it's going to slow down the transfer portal. So I've written down a couple of different scenarios, and I want y'all to tell me which one down in the comments that y'all might like. Okay. So so we'll say this is A. If a player decides to leave, decides to transfer, he or she must pay 75% of their initial contract back. And okay, that's A. So B, if so B is if a player leaves or transfers, they will be forfeiting and paying back 85% of their contract and will keep the players in place. Okay, so they will be forfeiting their NIL for 1 year, and they'll be paying 85% of the money from NIL or sharing revenue back to the university that they were at. Do y'all like A or B better? Now let me repeat that again because I know I stumbled. So scenario A is if a player decides to enter the transfer portal, he or she must pay back 75% of their initial contract back. Okay. All right. Or the money's received that from that university. They must pay 75% of it back. Option B, if a player transfers, they will be forfeiting their NIL and for 1 whole year and paying back 85% of their contract. And they will not be able to have money at that new school for that 1 season. Okay, does that make sense? So basically, you're forfeiting your NIL for 1 year. So if you transfer, okay, because look, I know, and you saying why would that be a scenario? Well, because it's gonna stop them from transferring, and it's really gonna have somebody thinking like, if you really want to go to a different school for a better opportunity, right? If you really want to transfer for better opportunity and you're not leaving because you're number 3 on the depth chart, you don't want to develop. You don't want to waste the time to develop, right? You want to transfer to, well, go ahead. As long as you pay back the 85% of your initial contract, and you'll be forfeiting your NIL for 1 year. So you can't earn. So pretty much you'll just be playing for free at that school. You just play at that school for free for that year. Cool. Or, like I said, option A was just pay back 75% of all the money that you gain, either from your NIL at that university and the sharing revenue. So 75% of all your money combined. Okay. All of it. So whatever your NIL is, could be, I don't know, you might have got 1 million in total NIL from 5 different places, the car dealership, a shop, a tool shop or something like that, whatever that may be, right? 5 different places equal to $1 million with all the NILs, right? And then the your sharing revenue contract with the university was, I don't, $250,000. So 1.2 mil is all right. So you'll just be paying 75% of $1.2 million back to that university. And then you can go to the other school. If not, stay put. If you done spent that money, you got to stay put. I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying. So it's pretty much buying yourself out for out your contract for 75%. Or option B is you just go there and play for free. Either or. Now I don't know which one do y'all like better. I kind of like option A better myself, being able to buy yourself out of your contract for 75%. You know what I mean? But you still taking that risk of entering the transfer portal anyway. You know what I mean? So to each his own, because people are getting stuck in there. Now, on a positive note with contracts and how contracts can go to make it positive, right? If a player stays at a university or school, they will receive a raise in their revenue sharing contract. Okay, what do I mean by that? So a player revenue share because they're the star quarterback at that university. So I don't know, they're getting $100,000, right? 50,000 a month, 100,000 a month. I don't know. It's a $1 billion industry. $1 billion industry college football is, first of all. All right. So we don't know what that number may be, but let's say, for example, it's 100,000, okay, per month. If a player stays the year, however long you've been there, say he been there since freshman. He started as a true freshman. He's been there now. He's going into his junior season, so he's played 2 seasons there already, right? Your money now jumps up per month to, I don't know, 400,000 a month, just because you stayed at that school. You did not transfer. Even if you are number 3 on the depth chart, say you're getting 25,000 a month. I don't know. Let's make it more realistic. If you third on the depth chart, I don't know, 5,000 a month, right? That's not bad. 5,000 a month to be third on the depth chart, getting development. If you're behind a star quarterback, that's not bad, right? Okay. But you've been at this school now since you were a freshman and you're in your junior season. By that time, you should probably be able to start anyhow. But now your money, went up. Boom, it went up. So now, even though you're still third on the depth chart because maybe a transfer came in, he bought himself out of a contract. I don't know, scenario came up, but you still say, I'm still staying down with this school. Now your 5,000 just went up to 50,000 a month, but you're number 3 on the depth chart just by staying at that school and receiving your development. That's another way to try to keep players there. Incentives. Okay. That's what I meant by that. So let's say school. I heard about the school thing. That is very important. Me being a father, school is important. It's more important than anything else in my household. Yeah, I don't like, for real. If your grades ain't right, you ain't playing your sports. I don't care. It don't matter to me. Sports do not matter that much to me. You need a fallback plan. When you are playing a combat sport such as hockey, football, you need your education. You need to be going. This is just my opinion. This is my opinion upon this. You should be in school for something that is that has validity to it. Something that is going to guarantee you a future outside of football. Because if a life-threatening injury happens, or if a injury happens to where you cannot perform the same way you were, or at that level you were at, you need something to fall back on to build that money, because you're always going to have them athletes there. You always played on that team, so you already have connections on that team, that college team, Division One or whatever. There's going to be some players on that team that's going to make it to the NFL. Now that the connections they have, the people they meet, you can also use that. So your networking is already going to be there. So have something to fall back on. Education is important. So if a player maintains a 3.5 GPA or higher, they get a raise in contract. Now, and that's quarterly. That happens quarterly, right? Like your grades or whatever, you know. So you getting a raise. Your revenue sharing goes up for being smart and being an athlete. Can't beat that. That's another way to keep people there. Another way to keep people there. Now this might be a little negative. Late, missing classes. Players will pay fines. You will pay a huge fine for that. Huge fine. And your sharing revenue decreases on top of that. That's another way to motivate people to do the right thing. Players, he or she, to do the right thing, right? In my opinion. Now let's say, for instance, like a player is, I don't know, before they transfer, if they transfer, this is another negative thing, I think. But if a player transfers, everything starts from scratch. So your original, not only do your, now I should have said this before with that, but not only will you have to pay the 75% of the contract buyout back, but when you go to that next school, you lose your value. Your value goes down from transferring in college. It don't gain. You could have had an all American year, and you go into Georgia, it drops. Keep players where you need to be. If you had a good program, you there. But look, hey, look, this is just my thing, and I'm just bouncing some of my ideas down that I've jotted down real quick, and some key points. So if you got something to add to it that'll say, oh, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but let's revitalize it like this. Let's revisit that and use this. Hey, put it down in the comments, man. I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? That's what we here for. That's what I'm here for. That's what we here for. All right. So now, what am I talking about? Okay. So my last thing I want to say, my last key point is like, look, affecting people's bottom lines, it just really is that's the bottom line. Affecting money is how you're going to motivate people, players. I think sharing revenue is going to motivate players to perform well, especially once incentives and bonuses and fines and penalties come into play. The people are going to players are going to be motivated to do the right thing. I think so, and I think this is a good way of getting a handle on the transfer portal contracts. And I also believe that this is a good way of, just penman development, getting their education, so forth and so on. But before I get out of here, I must say this. I always got to come with something a little bit argumentative. I want to know why a lot of people is acting like players were not getting paid before. Players been getting paid. These big schools been able to pay players. They've been doing it for years and years and years. There's no, they've just been doing it. Rather, there's always been a collective in every city, at every big university. There's always been a collective. There's always been there. So The fact that people are now acting like this is a play for player error, I disagree with that. And that is, and the reason I disagree with that is because there's always been somebody at one of these big schools that pay the talent. It's always been there. And look, this is not me speculating. This is me watching documentaries upon college athletes and athletes in general, and them talking about their college life and play and the things that were available to them, and people that they can get loans from, and people that would give them money, and people that will buy them shoes. And we heard that from a lot of people, from a couple of athletes. We heard that. It's just a fact. Some people got caught gambling. UNLV. We seen that. We seen the Fab Five story. Jalen wasn't gonna snitch on himself and say that, whatever, and he probably would never admit to it. But come on, they was the Fab Five. They was out you hang rappers and everything. Of course, the rappers was giving them bread and everything, so forth and so on. Come on, man, let's not play that. But everybody was big getting paid, and I don't agree with people saying that this is just a level playing field. What happened was people kept asking for it so much that NCAA just said, okay, y'all want it so bad, we're gonna open the door for it. Boom. But that, like I said, schools and universities, this is my opinion. Schools and universities waited too long to actually put their lawyers, their teams together, get a GM for their school. I mean, the athletic director at that school, there needs to be more athletic directors, if you will, acting as GMs. There needs to be more. You know what I mean? For every sport. Yeah, and I'm sure there is, you know what I mean? But they need to be acting as a GM for that sport. Contracts need to be coming into play. Universities have lawyers, agents. There's some agents, and if there isn't agents, then just a school, right? There's nothing to get a slide together and to give a parent a class upon being an agent or whatever. I don't know. Just steer them in a way to be how to become an agent. Even if you're not going to offer that class, because contracts is how we're going that way. And when you put in sharing revenue, they will be signing a contract. But if you make them employees of the university, this can get out of hand very, very, very well. And just need a contract. Scholarships are different from contracts. People say, yeah, well, you still signing for a scholarship. But if I sign a scholarship, then you're pretty much forfeiting your right to being the employee, So let's just call it what it is. People who want to go to school for education and they're really not playing sports, or they're not playing in a sport that rolls over that much, okay, then go ahead and take your academic scholarship. But if you are a sports player and you are going to be a star at that, then why not just go ahead and sign your contract? But there will be players, and everybody will not get contracts. That's the thing too, because let me be honest here, not everybody is deserving of a contract. You got to ball out. Now your name, image, and likeness is your name, image, and likeness. That's just always going to be different. But there got to be some way to penalize that. And I know it's not fair. I know, but it's just a way of trying to keep people doing the right things. That's all it is at the end of the day. But like I said, if I got anything else to add to it and make sure when you're in the comments, you're going to comment that there is an argument of why you disagree with me saying blase blah, and this is why, and I believe this is a solution. All right, that's how I think it should go. Because other than that, then we just get lost in the sauce. And other than that, if you can't explain, then you're just being a hater, really. I mean, at the end of the day, they call it what it is. But all right, man. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good day.
Want to see Truck and Chubby live and co-host Shed? Tune in at Fans Point of View, Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time. But in the meantime, in between time, enjoy the content. Don't forget to hit your notification bell for all updates. Thank you for watching.